for a few minutes. I just was doing Facebook Live. And by the way, if you are not friends with me on Facebook, make a request and actually just message me and saying, hey, Steve, I'm messaging you because you told me if I'm a viewer or a subscriber of your channel and you want to be friends with me on Facebook. Because about every couple times a week, a few times a week, I actually hop on Facebook Live. I've just started experimenting doing YouTube Live now as well. I just wanted to just talk briefly about this wonderful experience that I'm having in Utah. I got back here last Wednesday, and today is my last full day. And I'm actually being picked up shortly by Casey Kern, and we're going to have lunch with Maxine Hanks, and we're going to just hang out with him for a while. So I've never met Casey ever in the flesh, because of course he's all the way out in Korea, but he got into town last night. And so I'm going to hang out with my homie Casey Kern, which is really great. And so I just want to let everybody know that this trip was, I would consider, a smashing success. And in my mind, you know how God told me early on when I started this channel, he said, don't make any plans. Well, of course, I was making plans, right? Because that's what I do. I'm still like that. That's that type A personality guy. Yes, I am. But God told me not to make any plans, and I forgot that. So I'm trying to I want to go on this podcast, and I want to book this guest while I'm here, and I want to do this, this, and this. And then it's Friday. God went to me and he said, listen, you're here for one reason. You're here to witness a baptism. And that baptism was the very first person to be baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ, also known as the Bickertonites, in the state of Utah. They have a few members here, but they've never had a baptism occur in Utah. It was done at the Jordan River, and it was really cool. And I fellowship with the Bickertonites, or my friends there in that church on Saturday night at Applebee's, and then attended the very first church service of the Church of Jesus Christ in the state of Utah. And that had a nice turnout. So now you had over 40 people show up for the baptism on Saturday. And then it was about half that amount of people for the Sunday morning service, because they actually there were people who came from Idaho for the baptism. And then so there was a group of the evangelists and members who actually went to Idaho and had a church service in Idaho. So there were actually two church services happening in the Mormon corridor, two new branches, if you will, of the Church of Jesus Christ were established, have been established here recently. And so I just love that church. It's that little church that shouldn't exist. It should have been subsumed by the RLDS and Joseph Smith III in the 19th century, and it wasn't. I always tell people, if man couldn't plan it, then God probably did. I think it's a remarkable story. It's a remarkable church. And they tell me, they give me a lot of credit in my channel for actually getting the word out for that church. Now, of course, I'm not partisan. I'm not telling people you join this church or don't go to that church. Oh, and by the way, oh my goodness, Saturday morning on Facebook, I get greeted these criticisms. I call them attacks. I will, from evangelical pastors and people involved in ministries here in Utah, who are very mad at me for celebrating and attending this baptism. And I'm just like, why? I mean, this is just weird. Like, it's just weird because they don't even know what they're talking about, honestly. And then I go and say, do you know anything about me? Anything about my channel? No. They don't take any time. Look, I know them. I've taken the time to go to their websites, read their materials, watch their YouTube videos, read their books. I know who these people are. Okay? I've been following them for years, and they have never taken the moment, okay, to actually try to understand me and where I'm coming from. And I just find that to be so disheartening. One of them is with a group that has a research in the name of the ministry he's involved in, and he hasn't done any research on me, which I don't care. I mean, but it's just weird. Like, if I don't criticize people unless I know what I'm talking about, and these guys just don't know what they're talking about. And it's very disheartening to have these Christians feel that they can attack me and criticize me without really understanding me. And I think that's very unfair. Ignorance is at the core of bigotry, right? That's ignorance and fear, and not taking the time to understand people. It's the complete opposite of what I do, right? Because I build bridges and I talk to people, and I am so disturbed at how so many Christian ministries in churches in Utah are Christians who are trying to do things differently, actually trying to follow Paul, Jesus, and how you engage people who are different than you, okay? And they attack me, and it's all pharisaical. I'm sorry, but this is a pharisaical thing that's happening. But this is okay, because I love them. They're my friend. I do love them, and I forgive them already, so I'm not really bothered by it. But I'm going to make a response video to them because I just feel like it's just so untoward what they're doing. But I did want to say that the baptism was really it was great to be part of the church service that I attended, the very first Bickerton Night church service. And I say Bickerton Night, I know that's a nickname. It is the Church of Jesus Christ, okay? And I got to attend the service. I got to meet up with a lot of different people. I had dinner with Sean McCraney last night of Heart of the Matter. I had dinner with John DeLynn on Sunday. It was an impromptu thing, but we got together and had a good time talking with each other. Just pray for John DeLynn, by the way, folks. Pray for John. I guess as one of his kids put out a video on TikTok kind of talking about the stress and the pressure that John is under right now. And yeah, he is. He is under a lot of stress and pressure. And John is my friend. Okay, and everybody knows that John and I are friends, and and friends got to stand with their friends. And John DeLynn, you got to remember one important thing about John DeLynn: he is a human being. Okay, and when I was going through some trauma a few weeks ago, and I reached out and told people on Facebook that I was kind of going through some stress, there was a person that wrote a message on Facebook, and just said, Steve, I know you're a real, sometimes we forget that people like you are real people, but I know you're a real person because I saw you at Sunstone last year. And that, so many people think that when you're a YouTuber or you're like an influencer or whatever, they just kind of look at you as a character on their screen. And they don't realize that you're a human being and you have feelings. And John's a human being who has feelings, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. But either way, I just wanted to stop by. So this is my last day here in Utah. I'm going to be, Casey Curtis is going to pick me up. We're going to have lunch with Maxine Hanks. And then maybe I'm going to make my way down and hang out with Rebecca and Landon and Rebecca's husband for my final night. Still planning things out at this point. But either way, I got to get ready to be picked up. But I just wanted to hop on because I just want to share with everybody in the audience that I feel like this trip was a blessing. I was able to meet so many people that are anonymous, people on Reddit. Got to finally meet them, showed up for my meetup on Thursday, which, by the way, Thursday we had a great turnout for the meetup. And I'm going to give a report when I get back home and kind of write down everything I can remember so I can kind of share things. But I just wanted to hop on for a few minutes and just kind of talk to everybody and let all of you know that I really do love you and appreciate you. I know there's a lot of people that are out there praying for me. And don't worry, even though I was attacked this weekend by other fellow Christians, I got to be blessed by hanging out with fellow Christians at the baptism on Saturday and attending the Church of Jesus Christ church service this Sunday. And when you fellowship with other believers, it's so freaking awesome, and that brings healing in one's life. So that's the importance of having a community and having friends and hanging out with fellow believers who actually want to follow Christ and not be Pharisees, but be followers of Yeshua. Okay, everybody. Well, I'll be talking to you later. I appreciate y'all.